Hola! Today, we're going to take notes on todo sobre el pretérito, everything you need to know about the preterite past tense for the rest of this school year. Be aware that you will be using the preterite through the end of this year, and also for those of us who are continuing on at the beginning of Spanish 3, and if you are going on to Spanish 4 later on, you'll be using it then as well. So this is something that will be in use for the rest of your Spanish career, however long it may be. We start off with un repaso de los verbos regulares and also un repaso de los verbos con cambio de ortografía. So a review of of regular verbs, and then also of the spelling change verbs that we worked with earlier in the year, back in late November, early December. We are also going to be working with los verbos con cambio de raíz, which are stem changing verbs in the pretérito. That's new information for you. And los verbos irregulares en el pretérito, irregular verbs in the preterite. You will be required to pause the video multiple times to complete practice activities. We start off on la primera página with un repaso de los verbos regulares. You need to remember first off that we use the preterite to talk about things that happened en el pasado, which is in the past, and que ocurrieron una vez, that happened once. This is going to be something that will be very, very helpful for you to remember as we move on towards the end of the school year, especially in mid to late May. We're moving on to a quick review of how we conjugate regular AR verbs, los verbos regulares AR en el pretérito. The first step is quita la AR, or get rid of the AR, and then afterwards añade estas terminaciones, add these endings. Aste, o, amos, astes, aron. Remember to make sure that you note the accent over the A of the yo form and the O of the LA usted form, because without these accents, conjugations of regular AR verbs in the pretérito can mean something completely different. Ahora, pausa el video y conjuga el verbo cocinar al final de la página 1. Once you're ready, start the video again and move on. Vamos a hablar de las conjugaciones de los verbos ER e IR en el pretérito. First step, quita la ER o IR. Get rid of the ER or IR. Second step, once again, añade estas terminaciones. Add these endings. I, iste, yo. Imos, istes, yeron. Note once again the accent on the I of the yo form and on the O of the usted form. Make sure to note them so that you can conjugate verbs correctly and get full credit. Now, pausa el video, otra vez, y conjuga el verbo beber, to drink. Once you're done, unpause the video so we can continue taking notes on spelling changes. Los verbos con cambio de ortografía, or spelling change verbs, are something that we worked with a little bit back earlier in the year during second quarter. What you need to remember here is that some verbs tienen un cambio de ortografía, so some verbs have a spelling change, en la forma yo del pretérito. So they only have the spelling change in the yo form, and after that it goes back to following the regular AR conjugation pattern. So for two forms and the two form LA usted, nosotros, vosotros, and ellos ustedes forms, you go back to the regular AR conjugation chart. Remember that verbs that end with sacar, like sacar is jumping ahead a little bit there, or tocar, or empacar, change to que, QUE, con acento, in the yo form. Verbs that end with gar change to GUE, con acento, in the yo form. And so these are verbs like jugar and llegar and pagar. Also, verbs that end with Z-A-R, Z-A-R, change to se, or ce in the yo form. These are verbs like comenzar, empezar, y almorzar. What you need to do now, por favor, pausa el video, okay? You need to write down as much as you remember of the verbs that end with car, gar, and zar, al final de página 2, y al principio de página 3, at the beginning of page 3. If you do not know the meanings of some of these verbs in English, please make sure that you look them up and write them down. There are a few other verbs with spelling changes, that you need to be aware of. And these are verbs that end with EER, UIR, and OIR. They have a spelling change in the LE usted form and the EOS ustedes form. And what happens here is that en la forma LE usted and en la forma EOS ustedes, la letra I cambia a Y, or Y in English. So the verb that we're working with here is the verb creer, to believe, and you need to copy down the notes, copy them down well. You'll notice that in the LE usted form and the EOS ustedes form, the letter Y, where it's changed to the Y, is bold-faced for you. So if you want to underline it to make sure that it attracts your attention, if you need to look it up, please make sure that you do so. So we have creer, to believe, creí, creíste, creyó, with the I changing to a Y in the ending, creímos, creísteis, and creyeron. On página 4, we're moving on to the new material, starting off with los verbos con cambio de raíz. You need to be aware that verbs that end with AER, AR, or ER, that stem change in the present, do not have a stem change at all in the preterite. Okay, however, going back to that there. That jumped ahead for a second. Verbs that end with IR have a stem change in the LE usted form and the EOS ustedes forms. And it's important to note that this stem change is different in many cases from the stem change that we see in the present. So you'll note with verbos IR con cambio de raíz that if a verb changes from I to IE, like preferir, or from I to I, and like pedir or servir, and el presente, it will change from I to I and el pretérito only in the bottom two conjugations on this chart, the LE usted form and the EOS ustedes form. Make sure that you write down the conjugation of pedir, and you'll notice, hopefully, that the letter that changes is bold-faced for you on the conjugation. Pedir is to ask for or to order. And we have pedí, pediste, pidió, pedimos, pedistes, and pidieron. If a verb changes from o a ue, or o to ue en el presente, it changes from o a u, o to u, en el pretérito. And of course, the most important example we have right now is dormir, to sleep. And you'll note once again that the letter you need to change is bold-faced for you. So we have dormí, dormiste, durmió, dormimos, dormistes, and durmieron. Finally, we're moving on to los verbos irregulares en el pretérito. The most important thing that you need to note at the top of página 5 is that no usamos acentos. We don't use accents with the irregular preterite verbs. So an irregular verb in the preterite does not require an accent. You'll be given some time to get used to that in class before I start taking off little quarter points here and there for it. You may remember from earlier in the year that ser e ir, even though they mean different things, ser to be and ir to go, share the same conjugation en el pretérito. So we have fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuistes, fueron. Once you note that down, you'll note that at the bottom of page 5, I actually gave you a lot of information. The reason being that a lot of irregular verbs actually have a lot in common. They have an irregular stem, which means that the first part of the verb is irregular. You'll notice that hacer changes to is, estar changes to estuve, tener changes to tuve, poder to pud, poner to pus, etc., etc. And there's a little, blank line at the bottom under that stem, and that stem is where you put the endings. all of these irregular verbs in the preterite, in the box that says irregular verbs and stems on the left-hand side, share the endings that are in the box on the right-hand side. Iste, o, imos, istes, ieron. So, por ejemplo, for example, if I wanted to conjugate the verb querer, to want, and el pretérito, I would take the stem quis and use it with all those endings. So I would have yo quise, tú quisiste, él, ella, usted quiso, nosotros quisimos, vosotros quisisteis, and ellos, ustedes quisieron. Now what you need to do is pause the video, pausa el video, and choose 3 different irregular verbs, don't use querer, to try to conjugate. When you're done with your work, please call me over so I can check it for accuracy. Unpause the video and move on to the last 2 irregular verbs you really need to know right around now. The final 2 verbs actually have some things in common with a few other verbs you'll learn later on in Español as we go on to Español 3 next year. So one is decir, to say or to tell, which we use now en el presente. You'll notice we have a lot of I's and J's with decir. We have yo dije, tú dijiste, él, ella, usted dijo, nosotros dijimos, vosotros dijisteis, and ellos, ustedes dijeron. There is no I in this ellos ending here. We also have traer, to bring. Yo traje, tú trajiste, él, ella, usted trajo, nosotros trajimos, vosotros trajisteis, and ellos, ustedes trajeron. Be aware, I know this is a lot of information, but I would rather that we get it all situated now so that you have everything available as a reference as we move forward, just in case you happen to need it. Because you never know when one of these pieces of information might come in handy over the next several weeks, or the next few months, or even early next year. Now we're going to end the video. Please complete the practice activity on Página 7. When you are done, also show that to me so I can check it over and see what we understand and where we might need some assistance right away. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.